What's up, everybody? And once again, it's the episode of the Endzone with your boy, Craig.
Your boy, Ace.
We're here to give you the NFL updates of the week once again. So let's get started by first jumping in to the best update of the week, and that is the Bruins have won Game 6 to make it to Game 7 of the Stanley Cup Finals, and it was a handed victory. What'd you think about that game?
I love that game.
I
love every part of it. 5-1 win. They was battling. They actually, like we said, they was actually aggressive that game.
Yes.
They didn't let the Blues punk them, so I like that.
It was an awesome game. You know what bothers me? And I never ever want to truly ever believe this about any sport, but I feel like it's weird that they played so epically in Game 6, but so gravely poorly in Game 5. Like, something weird going on there. But, you know, with that being said,
people gotta get paid, man.
I guess so. I guess you gotta get paid. You gotta extend the series as long as possible. But I feel like that's a risk because, you know, games. If you're saying that, if they're saying Game 7 is really the only game that's real, you're running too much of a risk. Because what if they're on more than you are for that Game 7? Now you're running into a chance that you ain't getting the cup.
Which is true, but as you notice, if you watch most of the games, the officiating was getting better and better. You know, you can't leave it up to officials, but I know in that Game 4, people was going wild because they missed calls, and calls that they missed, they actually got goals from those calls that they missed.
Yeah, exactly.
So now you go to Game 5, which was, Game 6, I thought was officiated fairly well, and they end up winning 5-1. So let's see what happens in Game 7. I have the Bruins to win 4-2. Game 7. Yeah, that's my prediction.
I think it's going to be closer to 4-1, and the reason why I say that the last two goals come from the one thing we both hate. I think we're going to be up 2-1. They're going to pull their goalie. We're going to score. They're going to pull their goalie again, and we're going to score again. So I think it's going to be a 4-1 game. I think it's going to be a hard-fought game. But what I did find upsetting in this game was that they called Marchand for the exact penalty that they didn't call on the Blues. The dude who scored the second goal to give them the victory in Game 5.
Yep.
Same exact situation, and the ref calls it on him, but didn't call it on their guy last week. So
but that's why I said the officiating.
Well, but that was Game 6 though.
Yeah, but Game 5 they didn't make that call, and what happens? They lose Game 6.
They didn't make calls for the Bruins. They made calls for the Blues. If they make a call for the Blues, that's not better officiating. That just means that they're making calls against the Bruins. You got to call that both ways. Yeah. So I don't know. I just think that I hope that the Bruins can pull out this victory because it was a hard-fought season and a hard-fought postseason. So,
and I respect Chara too to go out there and play with a broken jaw, like.
And they're going for the jaw, like he's gotten hit in the face. So the fact that he can do that, you know what? I do lift, and I had a passenger in my car, and we were talking about hockey. One, that hockey has by far the best playoffs of all sports. I agree with him. I mean, think about it. No sport fights as hard to win games than in hockey.
Hockey's just a different, like, for instance, like, I would obviously be biased and say football because, you know, football is, you lose, there's no tomorrow.
That's true.
You get what I'm saying? Compared to hockey, you got series. Football, you don't have a series. Football, you play that game on Sunday, any given Sunday. Football's a game about inches. Anything can happen, so you got to leave it all on the field. Comparing hockey, you could take a couple plays off or whatever because you have a 4-game, 5-game series, you know, so it's a little bit different.
But that's the excitement. They have to play so much to get that win. And here's the flip side to that. Okay, in football, one loss and it's over. But in football, one win and it's over. You know what I'm saying? You just got to win that one game. In hockey, you win game 1, you still got to win 3 more. You know, so there's no.
Football had a 4-game series or a 5-game series or a 7-game series.
3. If football needs 3-game series, do you know how awesome? Tell me you wouldn't want to see 3-game series in the playoffs.
But their bodies will be banged
up. Oh, they'll be banged up. It would be crazy. But I mean, it would also be pretty awesome, and it would extend the season a little bit because you're definitely gonna. It's not gonna be 3 games in a week. It's gonna be 1 game a week. So you're gonna be waiting mad long. So it's gonna extend it. It would be pretty awesome. But I just think hockey is really exciting, and we were also saying that when it comes to hockey and MMA, those are the last of the real gladiators right there. Guys who don't care. A dude got resuscitated and was like, "Can I go back out?" Nobody in football, basketball, baseball, any other sport is gonna get resuscitated and say, "Can I go and play?"
But injuries is different though in those sports. So it's a little
in
different.
some ways,
Yeah.
in some ways,
Yeah.
but in other ways, it could be. I mean, broken jaw. Football player get a broken jaw, he ain't playing. Basketball player get a broken jaw, he ain't playing.
Because they don't allow you to play.
Oh, really? You're not you literally can't do it?
You really, your team doctor said you can't go out there, you can't go out there. Hence Kevin Durant in basketball. Yeah. He was trying to go out there with a torn Achilles and tore it again.
Damn.
Now that hurts your chances of free agency and stuff like that. So it's like, when it comes to hockey, if you have a broken jaw in hockey, you see the different mask that he's wearing because that can protect you. Compared to football, you have a helmet. When you get hit in your head, you're feeling that throughout your whole body.
And
so
you're gonna get hit in
that
the head.
collision is a lot different than hockey. But hockey is, I'm not taking nothing away from hockey.
I know.
You already know. I feel like hockey is one of the toughest sports out there. But it's different injuries happen in different sports, and that's why it's hard to compare and contrast because you can go back and forth, and
it's the same way you can't compare basketball to baseball.
Yeah,
that football and hockey are the closest to similarities, and I think it's the same thing. Basketball and baseball, those are.
I love the mental toughness by them guys. I love how they play. I love how they fight. I love like I'm saying. I love Chara going out there playing with a broken jaw. That's.
And it's a white collar. I mean, it's a blue collar sport too. You're not you can get rich playing hockey, but you're not getting basketball, baseball rich. And you're not even getting football rich. So that's another admirable thing about hockey. All right. This is a football show. We're going to get back to football. We got a little excited with the hockey situation going on. So now, first on the agenda, Carson Wentz gets his extension. He gets 4 years, $128 million, which brings him to $32 million a year. He got 107.
$66 million guaranteed out of that 128.
It dropped. It went up to 107 guaranteed with his guaranteed money from his previous contract because it's an extension, so they all go together. 107 guaranteed, and that brings his total up to 154 over the next 6 years. That's crazy. What do you think? Did they make the right decision?
I think they made the right decision, and the only reason why I'm not for quarterbacks getting overpaid like that because some of them don't deserve it, or we really can't say they don't deserve it. But in my eyes, they're not worthy of that money.
I hear you,
but
I'm with you.
As far as Carson Wentz, he is the face of Philly. They proved that by getting rid of Foles. But you got a guy that's been there for 3 years.
Yeah.
When Philly drafted him, they moved up in the draft to get him.
Yeah.
And in his 3 years there, in 2016, he threw for 3,700 yards and 16 TDs, but he had 14 picks. And then in 2017, he threw for 3,200 yards, but 33 touchdowns and 7 picks. And then 2018, he threw for 3,000 yards and 21 touchdowns and 7 picks. So I look at it as, in his 3 years, he threw for 10,000 yards and 70 touchdowns. So he's proven to be the face of Philly. In the quarterback position, you don't want question marks. And that's why I think Philly was like, all right, let's get this deal done over with so we can get the best out of Carson Wentz that we can get, so there's no question marks for him. And they're not worried about in the season, anything go. Because when people's playing for contracts, they play a little bit different.
Exactly.
So you giving him that contract up front, I think that just benefited your whole team as a whole to show hey, you're our guy. We're showing you that we got rid of all that talk with Nick Foles, and now we're showing you that. Now we're giving you the money to show you that you're our guy.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
That's what I think this was more about.
I agree to a degree, and I actually think I agree with you for the most part because I think we both agree that maybe 32 mil is just a little bit too much for any quarterback in the NFL. I don't care if you're Patrick Mahomes, Drew Brees, Aaron Rodgers. I think if you're getting paid $30 million a year, you're getting paid too much. With that being said, though, I really like Carson Wentz. Minus his injuries, he's a hell of a quarterback. In 2018, he had 102.2 passer ratings over 11 games. I think that the big issue now, if you're going to pay this quarterback, we need to not only protect him, but we need to get the best strength and conditioning coach to keep him from getting hurt, and then maybe teach him the Brady way of audibling out of coverage. You know, he needs he's a big, strong guy, and he'll try to fight his way out of tackles. But now it's, you know, you got that big money, and if they're putting an investment in you, you need to invest in yourself for the team and make sure that you're not getting hurt and not putting yourself in harm's way.
And I think their O-line is okay.
It is okay.
But I think where they lack is in the running back position. And I think
I mean, they did grab Jordan Howard. He had a lackluster season on the Bears, but maybe they turn him around.
maybe he can have a turnout season. So depending on how that works out, just pray for him to do well. Like I say, money well spent.
Yeah, I hope to see Carson Wentz earn his extension. You know, show that there's a reason why they paid him the money, because I do think he has the potential to be a future top 5 quarterback in the NFL. I think he is definitely one of those future guys that are going to have battles with another high-level quarterback. So we'll see what happens with that. All right, now on to different side of what we normally talk about. The Texans fired GM Brian Gaines after only 17 months and after an 11-5 record. What's that?
That's all about friendship. Because it's like you have Bill O'Brien, you got Jack Easterby. So it's like
former Patriot
guys. Both of them are former Patriot guys, and now they want to bring in the other guy who's a former Patriot guy, well, who is the Patriots guy right now?
Patriot guy right now in the executive
Nick
office.
Carcello.
Yeah.
Like he's in the executive office, and they want to bring him in and, put him as a GM. So I just think like they're trying to turn the table. They got a couple Patriot guys and knows the Patriot way, and they're trying to take that and go to Houston with it. So I think it could be a good or bad thing. If they get Nick over there, then it's good. But who else they bring over there, depending on who they bring over there and what they do and what players they bring in. Because Brian brought a couple good guys. Like he had Matthews there for a little bit, but then they got rid of him. So it's kind of like, in the time, he did what he had to do. So it's kind of what's going to be next, Like, that's how I always look at the situation. Like, you could fire somebody, but what's next? Like, bigger picture-wise, what's next? What are you going to do next? Like, who are you going to get next? And if they go out there and get the guy from the Patriots, then that's a big move. So, and they're all boys, so it all works out.
And it's funny, like, I don't know how many people, if you follow football, how many of you know this, but it's something like 60% of the coaches in the NFL came from the New England Patriots.
But that's the obvious. You know how big, it's not like you know how many coaches is like out there, like player personnel, scouts, that, the third. Like on an NFL team, there's probably like 100 people like that's within the organization that's doing something for that organization. So it's tough because it's like nowadays people go interning at the Patriots for a year or two, and then they leave and get a bigger position. Look at some of these quarterbacks. Some of these quarterbacks go to the Patriots for a year or two and go get a big name contract. That's just people trying to take the blueprint because they feel like the Patriots have the blueprint, and it's like, how can we make our team have the same blueprint? And I think that's just what it is. It's just that blueprint. And even like Bill Belichick, he was coaching with Nick Saban and these guys like that. That's big name college coaches. Like, he don't shy away from that. Like, he's been around forever and a day. So it's like, he's trying to get that blueprint down.
Let me ask you this. How close do you think, right? And I guess this would be a hard thing to assess, but how long until the NFL is just following the Patriots way? Because, I feel like a lot of people want to emulate it. 20 years of success, that's not a fluke anymore.
Nope.
That's 20 years of straight success. Like, how long until you think that it's just like the NFL becomes the Patriots way?
Well, it's like, it's a little different because I would say this. We all know the Patriots way by living in New England because, like, a lot of people that don't live in New England don't like the Patriots. So it's kind of like they don't follow them too much. So it's like, when we follow them and we look into things, we know the Patriot way. We know the winning ways. We know that we know they're not going to pay Craig $100 million. They might as well go give AC $30 million, and have him do the same job. Or forget paying you this high money when we can go get two of you. So it's kind of like those type of genius ideas. That comes from top to bottom. So it's kind of like, but look at Bill Belichick. You never see Bill Belichick and Bill Kraft go at it or nothing. No. That's an owner believing in his coach.
Yep.
Bill Belichick has a GM that believes in him. So it's kind of like that. From that formula on, that's what I see Houston trying to do. They already got not the owner, but he's top notch over there.
Yeah.
Jack. So it's kind of like they're trying to build their stuff off of that. Like, okay, let's have a GM that believes in the coach, so that the coach can just focus on coaching, and he don't have to focus on being a GM.
Yep.
So things like that is big, because that just takes the monkey off the coach's back.
Yep.
Or take the monkey off the GM's back. When you have a GM that's not worried about what the coach is doing, and you got a coach that's not worried about what the GM's doing, that helps the whole surrounding of a team. So I think, like, from that aspect of the blueprint, that's what teams is trying to take on. Like, how is the Patriots winning ways is winning ways? And their winning ways is winning ways because they feel like what we have here, we can send you off and be okay.
Yeah.
You know, so it's kind of like those type of things, and it comes from within, you know.
And I also, the one thing I always like that the Patriots do is that, and I think it's a big part, and obviously it comes from Belichick, is that no player does more than what they're supposed to be doing.
Absolutely.
He knows, like, if you're an inside linebacker, some teams might play you inside and outside. But Bill says, no. When you're inside, you're the best. When I need outside, I'm gonna bring this guy in because he's better at outside than you are. But I'm not gonna keep switching you back and forth, because I'm not gonna keep having you do this when I can have you do this and him do that, and know that I'm getting the best value. And I really like the fact that he can really bring that out of each individual player. Any player that's ever succeeded is because they understand what's wanted, and they don't, they're not being like, oh, I need to be doing this and that. No. You're going to do that one thing.
But it twinkles down to TB12 too. Like, like I pay attention to the Patriots because I'm a football fan.
Yep.
But it's like, you got a guy who takes pay cuts every year and stuff like that, and he just wants like a family, like a bond.
Exactly.
Like these guys go up to Wyoming in the summertime and work out and stuff like that. So it's like, when you see a guy doing these type of things, and you see what's supposed to be arguably the best quarterback of our time, not greedy for money, always playing his position, then you as a player, you have no say, because this is arguably one of the best guys in the NFL, and if he's not complaining about nothing, why should you?
Yeah, and
why
he
we
could
gonna
be
let you
asking
come in?
for $40 million a year.
Yeah.
Like, Brady is that guy who could be like, I want $40 million a year.
Yeah.
And if he wanted it, he'd probably get it.
He definitely would get it.
Yeah, because, I mean, I feel like there's no argument that he should be the highest paid quarterback, and he's not even in the top 5, and that's crazy.
Yeah,
so
we looked at that last time.
Yeah.
He wasn't like top 10 or something like that.
Yeah, I think and at the bottom of that 10.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I don't know, but we'll see what happens in the future with these guys, and let's see we'll keep an eye out on the Texans and see how this management mix-up works out. All right, next on the agenda, Tyreek Hill. His case is not ongoing. They're not pursuing it. One of the things I read is that Tyreek Hill fans believe that he's innocent because he has not been proven guilty and should not be suspended. What are you thinking?
Well, I feel like everybody's innocent until proven guilty.
Yeah.
And in this case, same thing with Tyreek Hill, but there was a child involved.
Yeah.
So when the child, he had a broken arm, they tried to say that he did it. It came out that that didn't happen, like the kid had a fall, and that's how he broke his arm. They went through medical examination and stuff like that. So
okay.
And then
so they did find out that he really didn't.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then it was like he had like bruises and welts on his arm from getting hit by a belt.
Okay.
Tyreek Hill admits that he hit his kid with a belt, just like the mom admit that she hits the kid with a belt. So who's to blame? I think it was more a lot of turmoil between him.
How old is this kid? Do we know?
He's young. I know he was a young kid, like probably like 6 or under, something like that.
Okay.
But I know like a lot of the turmoil came from with his ex-fiance. I don't know if they're still together now, but I would say ex-fiance and him. And then she was trying to put all the blame and everything on him, but then it came out that she was doing the same. Yep. So it's kind of like.
And then the audio came out,
which
and then, was not good for him.
Yeah, and then like, so they took the kid away. They all going through counseling and stuff like that. So I would say it's like, it's a situation where there's a lot of questions, because nowadays it's sad that you can't even tap your kid on the butt like for whatever, but we grew up different.
We definitely
grew up different. So it was like, because we was getting hit. whatever.
If a kid's bad, you know what I'm saying? As long as I feel like as long as you're not abusing your kid.
Yes.
A butt spanking with a belt definitely put dudes on the straight and narrow.
Yes.
You know, I definitely could have been running in a gang or selling hardcore drugs, or I could have been in jail. But my mom was warming my butt when I was real young and made me understand the difference between right and wrong.
Absolutely.
And my mom also made me know that, because I remember the one time I said, if you hit me, I'm going to call the cops. And she handed me the phone and said, call them, and I'm going to whoop you till they get here so they have a reason to arrest me. You know what I'm saying? So I don't think that there's anything wrong with, putting the belt on your kid's butt. I don't know how bad it was, because there is an extent to where it's a little bit too much. But they also say, the NFL's personal conduct policy has a wider scope than any type of illegal allegations. So the NFL doesn't need charges to investigate or to suspend, and the perfect example of that is Ezekiel Elliott. He did not get arrested. There was actually some evidence that he didn't even do any wrong and that the girlfriend was lying. He still got a 6-game suspension.
Yeah, so, and I feel as though too is like when it comes to domestic, NFL's automatically on it. So since it was a domestic situation and it was like a child abuse situation, he's gonna be suspended for like 4 games. But it's not like to the extent that everybody thought, like he was going to be out like 90% of the season.
I thought he was going to be out for the full season when this thing first started.
Yeah, so now I feel like everybody's mindset is changing, like, oh yeah, he's going to be out like 4 games.
I think he's going to get the minimum of 4.
Yeah.
I mean, ever since that Ray Rice incident and then the AP incident, nobody's getting away with anything having to do with domestic at all ever again. So he's definitely going to receive some sort of punishment. But I mean, for football, this is good news. I don't want to put my opinion on whether it's good news or bad news because I really don't know the extent of what he did.
We don't know.
And I don't want to say, hey, good for Tyreek Hill if this dude's being a scumbag and he's beating his kid.
See, that's where we draw the line. We can't cross that line because we are not prosecutors, we are not police, we're none of that. So if the police say, hey, he's innocent, then he's innocent until proven guilty, just like any man in this world or any female in this world. You're always innocent until proven guilty. If the NFL says, hey, you're suspended for 4 games because we feel like you did wrong in the situation, well, hey, you're suspended for 4 games. But as far as us here on this show, we can't really confirm or deny these allegations because we're not.
And we can't, we're not going to say what's right and what's wrong, because 1, we try not to get into the politics of situations, and 2, we don't. There's not enough facts. Not enough facts for us to say he's a good guy, scumbag, or somewhere in the middle. So we'll keep our mouth shut about that. So it is looking like there's a high probability of a 4-game suspension just because of the personal conduct policy, but the fans are shouting from the rooftops.
Which would be cool. Give him 4 games, man. Who cares?
I think a 4-game suspension, because I mean, what he said, the actual audio of what he said was pretty scary. You know what I'm saying? Not for someone like me, because I'm a big boy, got my big boy pants on. But for a woman and a child to say something like that to your kid or to your woman, the mother of your kid, is a pretty severe thing. So
absolutely,
I think a 4-game suspension would be fair. All right, now we're going to move on to a topic that has been ailing us for a few weeks now. We didn't know it was going to happen. We've made certain assumptions or predictions or hopes, but Kyle Rudolph has signed his extension, 4 years, $36 million. Absolutely.
Clap for him.
Good job, Kyle Rudolph. And the big thing is he wanted to stay in Minnesota. He even said that was him and his wife's biggest goal was to stay home in Minnesota because that's where they built a life. They didn't want to move anywhere else. So it was always likely that he was going to stay.
I feel like he's been in the league since 2011.
Yeah.
Like, they should have been inked this deal.
Yeah, they did.
And I really think, honestly speaking, they inked the deal with him because they were scared like Patriots might get him, or they was thinking someone else might offer him. And it was coming to the point where someone was about to offer him big money, and I think they pulled the trigger. They should have pulled it earlier, but because I'm all about guys who came into the league on a team, staying with that team and retiring with that team. So I respect this move. I respect the offer
both
by him
sides.
on both sides, and I even respect him as a man to just wait it out and see what they was gonna offer him, and he's
he
happy.
didn't make a big deal about it.
No.
He wasn't out on Twitter bashing or nothing. That's a huge respect, and that's when you know a player's playing for the love of the game. You know, he wants his money at the end of the day because we all need to get paid and we all need to eat and feed our families. But he did it in a respectful way, so that's extremely admirable.
Yeah, and I respect that to the 10th power.
And this has some implications. This is going to be the first time in, I believe, 9 years that they're gonna be able to run a 2 tight end set. They got they drafted Irv Smith Jr., who's looking really good, and now they got Kyle Rudolph, the veteran, who can also help bring Irv Smith along, help him learn the position as it's played on the Vikings. I think it's gonna be a really the combination of that and the two tight end set. I think that's gonna give them a huge advantage this year.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah,
I like it a lot.
It's going to be big. So I'm excited to see this offense. This offense has potential to be exceptional as long as Kirk Cousins can get it together.
Yeah, get it together, Kurt.
I feel like that's the big, it is always that coaching, but, the quarterback's got to bring it all together. He's got to lead the team. And if he can get that done, then with Kyle Rudolph being extended and having that 2 tight end set, I think that's going to be a really, really dangerous offense.
Agree.
All right. Cool. So next on the agenda, Jalen Ramsey does not get his extension. So he gets his 5th-year option of $13.7 million. But after that, what are they going to do? What do you think?
I think it's to the point where now, he's going to play for a contract now. Mm-hmm. And it's like you could have extended him because Jalen Ramsey's the same way as Rudolph. He wants to be in Jacksonville. He wants to stay. He don't want to go nowhere. Mm-hmm. But it's like his numbers speak volumes. What he's done in the league speaks volumes.
Oh yeah.
And if you was to offer anybody, you should offer him. He's been in the league for 3 seasons.
Yep.
2 Pro Bowls.
Yep.
In 2017, he was a first team All Pro. 2016, he started every single game since he's been in there.
48 games over 3 seasons. Hasn't missed a beat.
Hasn't missed a beat. He's 5th among all cornerbacks in the league with 9 interceptions, and he's 6th and 193 tackles. If you're not going to pay this man, someone's going to pay this man. And
9 interceptions over 3 seasons. One of them returned for a touchdown.
Exactly. So it's kind of like his in the league 3 years, and you make 2 Pro Bowls, and you make a NFL All-Pro team. What you're doing out there, you're making noise, and you're making a lot of noise, and it's like, I understood his frustration when he did the Deion Sanders. Yeah. When he's like, when it's time for me to resign, they're gonna have to put me on layaway. That's what Deion said. So,
when I read that, I thought that was hilarious. They're gonna have to put me on layaway.
Yeah, so he did the Deion Sanders, so it was like, that was funny to me, but it's like,
he said he wants the bag.
Yeah.
He wants that bag.
But do you blame him?
No, I
Because
don't.
everybody's getting that bag right now.
Yeah, right now is I've never seen so many people getting the bag as they are right now, and he is deserving. The thing I like about Jalen Ramsey is beyond his playing ability, he makes himself an exciting player with the way he trash talks. He brings the attention to himself and to his team. If he's playing a high-level quarterback, this quarterback's trash, or he said Josh Allen was trash and that he was gonna smash him, or this person Gronk ain't got nothing on me. So now, when you're watching that game, you're paying attention to him, He's
backing it up, though.
He does back it up. On certain occasions, I feel with the game against Josh Allen, the Bills did Jacksonville dirty in that game, and Josh Allen was able to run his mouth back.
Yeah.
But that's the excitement. Sometimes you talk shit and you ain't gonna win it. But more often than not, his trash talking is backed up.
Yeah, last season the Jacksonville Jaguars wasn't too good anyways.
That whole team was off as a whole. There was something going on there that wasn't right. And something tells me...
You see them ship out a few guys, so...
Yeah.
That tells you something.
Yeah.
But it's like...
And right now they don't have the money. There's only $9 million in their cap space. So with Jalen Ramsey and Kenny Nicone,
Cone, yeah.
That they
That's
both want money. Nicone hasn't been to isn't showing up.
He
to
hasn't been showing up. Yeah,
because he wants his paycheck as well, and they don't have the money to pay these guys. So these guys have to wait till next year. So when that money becomes available, and they can get their payday. But if you don't pay these two guys, you're making a mistake.
I think someone like Ramsey may get traded.
If they trade Ramsey, that'd be the biggest mistake they ever made.
Well, they was talking about it last year. They was trying to trade him.
Yeah, there was that opening.
Yeah, it was an opening for a little bit, and then it was shut down. So it's like now it's a whole new year. Now you don't give him an extension. Now NFL teams is like, hold on, you ain't give this man an extension. Hey, we got that money over here for you.
That's because I feel like Ramsey is the face of the Jacksonville Jaguars right now. He is the best player on that team. He's the most notable player. He's the Antonio Brown. You know, he may be playing defense, but he's the Antonio Brown of the Jacksonville Jaguars. If you let go of a star like that who brings attention to your team, and even though it's trash talking, it's not negative. He's not doing anything that lessens him as a man.
Pittsburgh let AB go, so.
Yeah, but what was going on between AB and Ben? Like they made AB now from what when you broke it down to me, you know, it made AB look worse than what he was. But AB was looking bad. It was looking like he was a diva. Where Ramsey looks like he's just pumped, full of steam, gassed up. But he's not talking trash about his teammates.
He's like a younger Sherman.
Yes.
But the difference is like they let Sherman go too.
They did let Sherman go.
So that's what I'm trying to tell you. Like, NFL don't play fair, bro.
Yeah,
like,
they def don't. You're right,
they don't play fair. So it's like, yes, we hope he stays in Jacksonville, but who knows? Who knows what can happen? Like,
and at the end of the day, as people who aren't, I mean, I am a Jacksonville Jaguar fan, but like they're not my number one team. Wherever Jalen Ramsey ends up, he's still going to be Jalen Ramsey for us.
Absolutely.
You know, as long as you're not from Jacksonville, Jalen Ramsey is still who he is.
Yeah, he's a stud. You know,
exactly. You know, and the fact that's another reason why I would think it'd be crazy for them to trade him. 3 seasons, not 1 game missed. Like that's something that's gotta say something as a team. Like, man, do we want to get rid of one of our most reliable players as well?
Yeah.
It's a tough call. We will keep you posted as it progresses, but we probably won't have much more updates until the following season to see what happens.
Absolutely.
Now we have something I'm really excited to talk about. We have 3 quarterback competitions that are imminent. Quarterback competitions that are going to see the light of day real soon. Some that will happen before the start of the season, some that will happen during the season. And I want to start with the most notable quarterback competition, and that's Eli Manning and Daniel Jones. And we got Eli Manning, who's put up last year 4,300 yards, 21 touchdowns, 11 interceptions, 66 completion rate, and only 7.5 yards per passing average. You know, that's not for a guy like Eli Manning. Yeah, that's not real good stats right there.
That's terrible stats.
Terrible stats. So, do we think Daniel Jones starts the season, or do we think it happens somewhere out in a few games in?
He'll start a few games in. You know,
give me a prediction.
I talk to my Giants guys all the time about it.
Yeah.
They're saying 3 games tops,
3
maybe
games?
4. Yeah, because it's the Giants' way. You know, the Giants love. It's like you skipped over Haskins to get this guy, and you got him because he's more like an Eli Manning.
Yep.
So you're not gonna let him come in and take Eli's position yet. You get what I'm saying? You're gonna give Eli a chance. If the Giants start off 0-3, Eli's getting pulled.
Okay.
If the Giants start off 1-2. Eli might play that 4th game, and if they lose and be 1-3, then you pull them. But if they start off and they go like 3-1 or something, you keep Eli in there.
Yeah.
So it all depends on Eli. Eli is controlling his own fate right now.
It's his job to lose.
Yeah, but now you're missing OBJ over there, so now that changes a lot of stuff too. So
and replacing him with the likes of Golden Tate is not a fair replacement.
It's not.
Even though Golden Tate can do things for you, I don't think that's going to be comparable.
No, not at all. So I wouldn't say Jones is going to go in and start week 1. No, but you give him by week 4, week 5, we'll be having this conversation again because he may be taking Eli's spot by then.
So,
but I know, but not to cut you off, I know like looking at all the tabloids and looking at like different stuff, like a lot of them saying that Jones is outplaying Eli on every aspect. right now.
I did hear that
You
he
know?
was making it a competition. I did not know he was outperforming.
Yeah, he's outperforming Eli right now, but at the end of the day, they just patting the eye to that because at the end of the day, they know Eli's their guy, and that's who they're going with. Because if Eli
And they
wasn't
got
their
to
guy,
give him an opportunity.
yeah, and if Eli wasn't their guy and they wasn't trying to give Eli an opportunity, then they would have got rid of him and kept OBJ and got a rookie quarterback and had them come in and learn the system.
Yeah.
But they didn't do none of that stuff, so I feel like Eli's their guy, and that's who they're gonna stick with until Eli proves himself any otherwise.
So 2 things. 1, I think it's Game 6.
Game 6, okay.
Game 6, hands down, no matter what happens, Game 6. Unless he shows enough, and I think that there's a possibility that he could show enough that just maybe they might say, you know what, we can't not start Daniel Jones. I think that there's a possibility that he could be out there Game 1, depending on his development over. I mean, there's a lot of time left. If he's already outperforming him, something could happen, and
This year might
it
be
could go his way.
It's the 100th year of the NFL.
Yeah.
We may see potential three quarterbacks that got Super Bowl rings retire. So it's tricky,
Yeah.
you know?
So
You got my guy Drew Brees, you
Yep.
got my Tom Brady, and you got Eli. So it's tricky. So you never know what you're gonna get.
I
you
mean, and I mean, you're saying with Super Bowl rings, but there's still Phillip Rivers is getting close to retirement.
But he still got more to prove. He still
Yeah.
probably got more. He got a couple more years in the tank.
Joe Flacco got a ring. He could possibly retire
True.
as well. If he doesn't have a good season
Yeah.
in Denver, you could be looking at another retirement. So there's a lot of
Forgot about
guys that could.
Flacco.
Yeah, I did forget about Flacco until I was just thinking about it now. And then you also have the potential to have 3 starting rookies. Again, we just had it last year. I think we even had it the year before. You can have a lot of changes. But I do think that Eli Manning is out either Game 1. I think it's either Game 1 or it's Week 6.
Okay.
Now, what happens? Do you believe what happens with Eli Manning? Do you think he rides it, or do you think that he retires, or do you think he requests a trade?
He got to retire. Nobody wants Eli Manning.
Someone. I mean, listen. There's people taking quarterbacks that definitely don't deserve to be playing in the NFL right now.
But Eli is.
Tom Savage played in the NFL last year, and Eli Manning's better than Tom Savage.
But Eli Manning is a legacy guy. So he wouldn't. And I'm not saying he's the greatest in the world, no.
No.
But he's a legacy
I
guy.
get what you're
He's a
saying.
Manning.
Yeah.
He's gonna protect his legacy by if he gets pulled, he's gonna be there coaching him up. But at the end of the year, he's gonna retire. Because he's gonna retire as a Giant.
Because
He's
I
not gonna
think
go
there's
to
teams
another
that would
team.
take him as a starter. I
For
feel
one
like
year?
Yeah, for 1 year, like maybe even more than 1 year, maybe 2 or 3. A team like Tampa, who could possibly want to move on from Jameis Winston. You could have Miami. Fitzpatrick's not working out. Rosen's not working out. Okay, we'll take. I mean, Miami signed Jay Cutler.
But here's my thing to you though.
Yeah, go ahead.
Eli Manning being who Eli Manning is.
Oh, yeah. So you're saying it's an Eli Manning thing, not a
Yes.
team thing.
Yes.
I hear you.
Yeah.
Okay. So
I'm just saying him as a person.
do you think he rides out the season?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
You still gotta get paid. You
Yeah,
still got a family to feed. So you're gonna ride it out the season, but you retire, you got nothing more to prove. You go to Miami, you already got Super Bowl rings. You go to Miami, you ain't winning a Super Bowl there. You're risking injury. You're risking why not retire and be okay? You know what I'm saying? Like that's all I'm saying. Like you're not Eli Manning goes to Miami or Tampa, he's not making those teams better. Is what I'm trying to say.
I hear you.
So you might as well, if you do get yanked, you might as well just wait it out to the end of the year and retire because you go to Miami, you're not making Miami better.
No.
You go to Tampa Bay, you're not making them better. You're just a quarterback that's just going to throw the ball.
I don't know that I necessarily don't think that he'd make Tampa Bay better. Jameis Winston has not. I mean,
But what I'm trying to say is Tampa Bay becomes a Super Bowl team with Eli Manning?
No.
Do they become?
Maybe. No, I can't even say playoff worthy.
There you go.
No.
So
they
it's
don't
like,
have a strong enough defense to even make the playoffs.
You get what I mean? So you're not making those guys better.
Yeah.
You're just there as a
You're
quarterback.
just there to get paid.
Just to get paid just for a check. You retire, you're still gonna get a nice check.
Unless he just wants to play football, because if he loses a starting position, he can't play football.
Yeah.
Maybe there's that possibility that he can't let the game go. But I do kind of agree with you. The legacy of him not, maybe he just wants to be a one-team player and just wants to try. I mean, he did make a big deal about not wanting to play for the Chargers when he got drafted. So maybe he only wants to play for New York. And if he
picked
can't,
where he
he'll
wanted to
retire.
go.
Yeah, he did. He absolutely did. All right, so Eli Manning competition. We have a couple options. It's either going to be Game 1, somewhere inside of Week 3 or 4, or Week 6. So that's where we all, in some way, shape, or form, that's where we think he's gonna. Daniel Jones comes in. My personal opinion is I like to see him come in game 1, just because I don't like Eli, and I would like to see him never play football ever again. I'm hating. I'm sorry. All right, the next QB competition is between a current journeyman and a future journeyman. Ryan Fitzpatrick versus Josh Rosen. Who wins this competition, and does the other one play at all?
I say Fitz wins the competition.
Okay.
Because Fitz has a cannon on him. Fitz shows at times that he could be a good quarterback in the league, but then next week, like we talked about this a couple weeks ago,
Yep.
he's so inconsistent that you can't trust him.
Yeah.
So his inconsistencies can get Rosen playing time. But as far as who's going to win that starting position, I'm going to go with Fitzpatrick. But Fitzpatrick inconsistencies can get him on the bench, and Rosen can get playing time. So I think it's going to be 50-50 wave with them two, because you don't know what you're getting from Rosen, and you don't know what you're getting from Fitzpatrick, and it's going to be like a week-by-week conversation.
So it's going to be like what happened in Tampa Bay with Winston and Fitzpatrick.
Yes.
Where as soon as one goes cold, the other one comes in.
Yep.
I don't hate that assessment. I do believe that Ryan Fitzpatrick wins the job. To be honest with you, I understand his inconsistency. I think for what you sign Ryan Fitzpatrick for, he's the best at what he does. As a journeyman, like, we're gonna throw you in hopes that you can win us some games. Like, he's a smart and athletic quarterback.
Absolutely.
He does make poor decisions when passing the ball, but he also makes these unbelievable plays. And I don't know if you saw it. I thought it was pretty cool. And when I watched the video, I liked it even more. He pulled the Patrick Mahomes, the no-look pass to Devontae Parker
on the
and
sideline.
like a perfect sideline pass.
Dime.
Yeah. Oh man.
What about did you see the 70-yard pass that he threw to Parker?
I did not see that one.
In stride.
In stride?
In stride. On the button.
So we could be having an all-star performance between the two of those guys. Maybe a nice little
That's
matchup.
a stretch. All-Stars is a stretch.
I might have been just over-exaggerating, you know what I'm saying? But what I meant is just some highlight reel moments
You're going to get
between the two of those guys.
Here's the thing, though. Look at last year.
Yep.
Ryan Fitzpatrick had highlight moments.
Oh, big time.
There was games where he threw for 3-4 touchdowns.
Yeah, 3-4 touchdowns.
You get what I'm saying?
And he beat the Saints, the only team to beat the Saints in the regular season.
Yes.
Yeah, the only team, or did they lose the second time?
I think they lost the second. They lost someone else too. They had
lost
2 or 3
two.
losses. Yeah,
but
they had a few
the
losses.
first game they lose, and then they went something like 12 games straight with no losses, and that loss was the Tampa Bay and Ryan Fitzpatrick. The man has the tools to get the job done. He just needs to be trained on how to make better decisions.
But after he beat the Saints the next game, who was it that he played the next game? I forget who he played the next game, but that next game he only threw for like under 200 yards and like 2-3 interceptions.
Yeah.
And then he was yanked.
Yep.
Jameson went in. He had a good game. The next game after that, he had a bad game. He was yanked.
Yeah.
So it was kind of like...
It was too much back and forth.
It's too much back and forth and too much inconsistency. So what I would rather see is him play 2 or 3 games, and if he's still inconsistent, you yank him. Then you put Rosen in there for 2 or 3 games. If he's inconsistent, yank him. Because you can't keep on going back and forth, because that's only plays with your mental when you're doing that.
To be honest with you, unless Ryan Fitzpatrick gets hurt, I would just like to see him play out the season.
Okay.
You know what? Because when you pull a quarterback, it's not like any other player. That's something that messes with your confidence. And now you're gonna come in knowing if you make a mistake, you're gonna get pulled, and that's gonna put you in the quicksand.
Yeah.
Mistake after mistake. I think if Ryan Fitzpatrick is playing at the very least decent, they just need to ride it out and let Rosen have more time to develop. I think if you give Rosen this entire season to develop as a backup behind Ryan Fitzpatrick, I think you might be looking at a quarterback who can mature and get that opportunity to learn and come out stronger. And I think he'd be better for it. I think a whole season off for Rosen is exactly what the doctor ordered. So that's what I would like to see. And we're gonna find out soon enough, but that's how I'd like to see it go down.
Okay.
All right, and then finally, a competition that I honestly don't know how it's going to go. Case Keenum versus Dwayne Haskins at the Washington Redskins. Who you think wins the job, and how do you think it goes?
You're not going to agree with me, but I think Keenum wins the job.
Yeah.
And after about week 2, maybe 3, then Haskins will go in there. And the only reason why Keenan's gonna win the job is because his experience in the league, because he's been in there a little longer. And I just think they're just kind of like trying to let Haskins learn the system a little bit more, get that end game speed and stuff like that, and see what the NFL is about, and then push him in there. But I think just to push him in there right away, you kind of like setting him up for failure. So I think let him build himself up before you just push him out there.
Correct. So I actually 50-50 agree with you, disagree with you. And where I disagree is I think that Haskins doesn't start the game, game one, but I think he finishes game one.
Okay.
I think Case Keenum is going to come out, and I think he's going to underperform, and Haskins is going to go in. But where I agree with you is I don't think that that's what they should do. I think that's what they're going to do. And I think Dwayne Haskins should wait at least 6 games. Same thing I'm saying with Daniel Jones. I think he needs those games to see what's going on, see how the team plays. And I actually think unless they get the right weapons for him, I don't even think Daniel Haskins should play this year. I think that until they have the wide receivers to get him going, because who's their number one right now? See what I'm saying? Who's the number one wide receiver? You don't have a number one wide receiver. How are you going to give a rookie wide receiver a team that isn't even prepared to take on a rookie wide receiver? Your run game is phenomenal. Yeah. You have a strong run game, but your wide receiver game is pretty much non-existent. So I think that
they might go out there and get somebody though.
Maybe they might.
Yeah.
I mean, there's tons of talent out there. You can go ahead right now and grab the likes of Pierre Garçon and Des Bryant and Kelvin Benjamin. Grab those 3 guys right there.
Garçon was already over there, wasn't he?
Yeah, he started he started there, and now he's in he was over at the 49ers, but now he's a free agent. You grab those 3 veterans and you put them on that team and you start Dwayne Haskins, you might make the playoffs. And if not, you're going to have a win. At the very least, you're going to have a winning record. I'd say 9 wins with that team. So I don't know. We'll see what happens. But I don't want to run out of time, so I want to go to our last main football topic, and that's Cameron Jordan gets his extension. 3 years, $52 million. The team captain gets paid, and he got, $42 million guaranteed.
In the 8 seasons, he's a 4-time Pro Bowler, so.
Captain of the team, that says a lot. You don't get captain of the team just because you're good. You get captain of the team because you know how to motivate men.
Yeah. So I totally agree with that move. He's another one. He had 127 starts, never missed a game.
Never missed a game. Only one game did he not start.
One game.
He played in it, just didn't start it.
He just didn't start it, yeah.
So,
and then he has, 71 and a half career sacks?
Yeah, something high. I know this, though. Over the last 2 seasons, 25 sacks, 49 hits on the quarterback, 35 tackles for a loss, 17 pass breakups, 3 forced fumbles, an interception, and 111 total tackles over 2 seasons. That is get paid money right there.
That's something that some people don't have their whole career, never mind in 2 seasons. And not to mention, he's only 29 years old, about to be 30. So he's still got another 5 years in his tank.
Yep. And they got him until 2024 now. So they're making smart decisions over in New Orleans. I have no bad comments about this.
I think that was well deserved. They did the right thing in this situation.
Maybe even a little underpaid compared to other players. I mean, you might be a little underpaid. You got a guy who's literally never missed a game for via injury or any other reason. Like, that's a guy you got to give him his money. And he's made the NFL's top 100 list, and that's made by the players. He's made that I think like 3-4 years in a row.
Yep.
So
4 years in a row.
This dude is an incredible football player, and that's just the thing. He's a true football player.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I love this contract. I love the fact that they're keeping him, and I have no negative notes on this.
Good.
Definitely just got an update. The Raiders will be Hard Knocks. The Hard Knocks goes to the Raiders, so that'll be cool. We'll get to see Antonio Brown showing off his skills, and there's another one after tearing his ACL last year. Emmanuel Sanders looks like he's ready to get back on the field. He's showing off speed, so that's good news. Maybe we'll have some more updates for you next week. You had something.
Oh, Big Papi.
Big Papi.
Big Poppy gotta
Poppy.
get well.
Our prayers and our wishes out to you and your family. You might have maybe brought it on yourself, but
Yeah, Poppy.
hey,
Poppy messed up.
I ain't no hater, so.
We ain't a
is
hater,
what it
dog,
is.
but Poppy,
I ain't
you
hating
messed
on
up, Poppy.
You definitely messed up, Poppy.
Yeah.
You let your fame go to your head, and you thought you could do whatever you want.
Yeah.
But man,
He picked the wrong guy to play with.
oh man, did he ever, man?
But
Like,
it's just like, but not to talk about his situation and all that, but it's just amazing to see, like, like he kind of united Boston after the Boston Marathon.
Yes.
What he said, barely speaking English, like, this is our city, and it's just like, it brought chills to everybody watching and all that. And then just to see, like, that tragic situation happen to him, and then first thing happens, Boston sends a private jet. The Red Sox actually send their own private jet to go pick him up in DR and bring him back to Boston in order to bring him to Mass General, which is the best hospital in the country.
Yep.
Bring him to Mass General and just make sure he's okay. So that just says so much, and
it brings a
speaks
sense of pride to me.
Yeah.
It brings a sense of pride to me being a Boston fan to know that just because a player left your team doesn't mean you forget what they've done for you. And Boston showed that. They said, listen, this player's done a lot for us. We need to make sure that he gets the best treatment available. We're gonna send a private jet out, get him, and bring him home right away to be taken care of.
And then I was watching something with Pedro Martinez. He just was breaking down, like,
those guys were
because
close.
the guys are tight. So
him, Pedro, Big Poppy, Manny Ramirez.
Yeah.
That was a three-headed monster that drove this team for a while.
And it's tough that, like, all these tragic situations is always happening to these guys who's famous in their own backyard. It's just.
I know it does suck that he's home, in a place that he should feel safe. Now, whatever he did is whatever he did. We don't need to, tear the man apart. Everybody makes mistakes, but a mistake that almost cost you your life, that's a really sad and tragic situation that, nobody does anything bad enough. Well, I shouldn't say nobody does anything bad enough to lose their life, but in all fairness, no one does anything to lose their life. And to be killed, to have an attempt like that on your life is got to be an eye opener.
Yeah.
So.
And next we got get healthy, Kevin Durant.
Yes, Kevin Durant.
Warriors
got a victory.
They won to keep themselves alive, because like you talked about in hockey, they got to push the series a little longer for the money. But it's like, as a player, I agree, but disagree with that.
Yeah.
And the only reason why I say I agree with you trying to go out there and play with your brothers and help them out being down 3-1 and showing, like, okay.
And that's exactly what
they actually needed me, and we can't win this without me. And he came in and probably had like 12, 15 points real quick. He hit his first 2 or 3 3-pointers. He made some jump shots, but then he go make one move. And I was telling a couple people before, when he first went down like a month and some change ago, I was like, oh, he didn't sprain his knee. He tore his Achilles. Or he sprained his Achilles. People are like, nah, he sprained his knee. I'm like, if he sprained his knee, he'll be back. He hasn't been back for a while. And then the slightest move that he make, you can see that it was the same injury as Kobe Bryant, like, same difference. And I pray that he doesn't have to get the surgery. Because any basketball player will tell you this. Anybody will know if you watch the sport of basketball. When you have an injury like that and you get the surgery, you're never the same again.
No.
And it's like
I
this
feel
guy.
like Derrick Rose is a big example of that, man.
That too.
Once he gets injured, and once he got a bad injury and had to have surgery, he was never the same again.
Yeah, so it's like, and then you're like, this is your contract, kind of like your contract year.
Yeah.
Because, you're on your free agency market. There's teams that still out there want to offer him big money, so the money won't be an issue. But it's just like, he could have just sat back and got
Which is where the more
healthy.
comes in.
And got more healthy. And then it's like, and then I see things like, now let me ask you a question. If you're a fan of Toronto and you see Kevin Durant come in playing off a month, he comes in, scores a couple quick points, boom. Now you're like, damn, this team is that much better. Now you're down like 14, 15 points real quick. And now you're like, oh, this team is so much better with him. Like, this is what they've been missing. And then he goes down and you're going to cheer like, oh, yeah, he got hurt.
Oh, yeah.
You get what I'm saying? Like
I feel you.
that was a
Yeah.
big thing. And like I was talking to a couple of my cousins about it. I told them straight up, like, do you expect anything less from a fan? That's
Yeah.
why they're fans. Fans cheer for anything.
Yep.
Fans is drunk. Fans don't care what you feel like.
No.
Fans just is fans of their team. You know how many
Yep.
times people say, oh yeah, I go to Fenway Park, it's so prejudiced. I go to TD Bank, it's prejudiced. I go to Foxborough, it's so prejudiced in Boston. Boston has the most prejudiced fans, and it's not that they're prejudiced. It's just that they're a drunken fool and don't care about no other team.
And they hate you because you're playing us in that moment.
Yeah, do you
Of
ever
course.
been to a Yankees versus Red Sox game and
Yeah.
see the names that they call people and stuff like that? You as a person, you sit there and like, yo, this is pretty harsh. But then again, in the back of your mind, it's like, this is what fans do.
Yeah.
Fans find
And
everything about
and
you.
I think we are the most heartfelt teams. Like there's no, like I feel like there's no real, I mean there might be, but I feel like Boston's not bandwagon. Boston's like Boston fans are true fans. Like where like New York and LA, you have a lot of bandwagon fans.
Mm-hmm.
You have a lot of people who are fans of just players. You know, you have your LeBron lovers or your A-Rod lovers. You know, the people who literally just follow players and the best team available. You know, everybody's a fan for their own reasons.
I say baseball is split though out here. Like you have Yankees fans and you have Red Sox fans. That's
Yeah.
because New York is not too far from Boston. And you know,
And
people
we
grew up
live
in
in a
New
place
York.
that have a lot of Spanish people. And Spanish people love the Yankees.
Yeah.
You know, so it is what it is. But we are harsh here in Boston, but that's why we are who we are.
That's why I said it. I've been to one Bruins game my whole life, and it's
Really?
the most insane thing
Yeah, it is.
that you would ever see. Like,
I've been to a lot of Bruins.
you get what I'm
games.
saying?
It's
Like,
insane.
I'm just saying fan-wise,
Uh-huh.
fan base-wise.
Yeah,
'cause
yeah.
They're tore up from the floor up, and they're saying everything out that mouth.
It's way
Like,
more brutal for hockey because it's a brutal sport. It's a fighting sport, and it's like.
And you don't have to be black to be called the N-word,
No.
because they all feel that way. Like, you know?
It's
So-
crazy. So we'll see what happens. All right, before we run out of time, we got to close this bad boy out. We just want to remind you that, one, we want you to watch our show on YouTube. Check out Gym Bag Entertainment on YouTube. But also, we have our website. It's coming. I'm being told it should be ready by this weekend. The latest will be next weekend. But as soon as it's up and running, we're going to give you the word. It's gymbagentertainment.com. You'll be able to see all of our videos. Plus, we'll be updating you with articles on there. We're giving you as many updates as we possibly can. And we hope that you can support our page and give us the love. Make sure you check out all of our shows. The Flex with myself. We have the Endzone with me and AC.
Yeah.
And then we have Tell the Tape with me and Mike Johnson, talking UFC, MMA, and all that good stuff. So we hope that you guys can take the time out to show the support for us as the weeks pass. Football's getting closer, so we're going to have a lot more. We're going to be full of content once season starts. So we're excited for all that stuff. So we hope to get your support. Can't ask enough. Support. But until then, I'm Craig.
Your boy Ace.
And we'll see you in the end zone. Have a good night.